Hello, this is Catherine Dubberly, the Answer Lady. I'm a big fan of KISS looms, and I am cooperating with Kelly at KISS to present to you a whole series of looming techniques especially for KISS. We're going to do this on all sorts of KISS looms, so you get to see every basic technique on your own loom. Welcome and enjoy. Let's work the long tail cast on. This one is one of my very favorites. First, we need to measure off the length of 3 times the width of what we want to cast on. But then I find it wise to be a bit generous, so I'm adding that much. And it begins by knotting a loop into the yarn. That loop goes on peg number 1. We need to keep straight which is our real working yarn and which is our tail. The tail's in my right hand now. And I'm going to E-wrap one peg only. E-wrap the same peg, knit over, and adjust. E-wrap, E-wrap the same peg, knit over, and adjust. Resist the temptation to E-wrap multiple pegs as we do in some cast-ons. And here is why. Every time you U-wrap it and knit over, there really is the need to tighten that stitch. Now that it's done, it's a beautiful even stitch. But if you do several in a row, you won't get to tighten the ones in the middle, and they won't be beautiful and even, and it will be an uneven and unattractive cast-on. So let's do a few more. And while I do, I'll tell you why I like this cast-on. It's not difficult to do. It's much easier on this kind of loom than a crochet cast-on, but it has a very similar look and similar function. It stretches just a tiny bit, not a great deal. So there are times when some other cast-on that's stretchier might be valuable. But if the cast-on is going to show at the lower edge of an item, this one is very good looking and very stable. It doesn't pull in, it doesn't let the knitting stretch out of shape, and it resembles a chain stitch at the bottom of the knitting. If you're going to bind off with the transfer method, which is an easy favorite, this is a good match for it. It looks very much alike, beginning and ending with those two things. And you see my single strand is getting shorter. My long tail is not a long tail anymore. But it only needs to make these 4 more stitches, and it should. Right now I'm working on the small gauge loom with, I think, 3 washers in between the pins and the pegs. Okay, let's go over this one more time real slowly. When you E-wrap, your long tail goes behind the pin, makes the cursive letter E around the peg, then the other piece of yarn, the working yarn, goes behind the pin, U-wraps the peg, we knit it over, and adjust the tail. E-wrap with the tail behind the pin, E-wrap the peg. The working yarn is already in the back, so it stays behind the pin, makes the letter U around the pin, and we knit it over. In this case, you can actually see what the cast-on is going to look like at the bottom of the garment. There it is, making its little chain stitch self, and you can see how nice looking that will be.